Hello everybody, hello! Welcome back to the channel. Now, my video last Saturday was about interview questions that you should be asking the recruiter, the hiring manager, the interviewee, the onboarding associate, whatnot. Now, I told you last week that we are going to be talking about the STAR method, and that is what we're going to cover today. So we're going to go over what each letter means, and then I'm going to give you some examples to show you how to use it. So the first thing is the S, and S stands for situation. We're going to introduce the situation to set the scene and provide content. So this is about a work example. This is an O. I went to McDonald's and negotiated how to get a buy one, get one free. This is an example from a past work experience. So what I recommend you do, get paper, get a pen, write down STAR, go S dash, write down a situation, and then read that out loud, showing your notes to the recruiter, okay? So S is situation. T is task. We're going to describe the task, what needed to be done, why did it need to be done, and this is where you get into the details, like policy was this, client wanted that. A, action. We're going to explain the steps we took in response to the task. And then R is result. We're going to describe the end result of the situation. So let's get started with example 1. And this is an example I actually used in an interview. So just change it to show what you would do. So if the interview question is, talk about a time that you had a challenging task or had to say no to a client. So S, situation. I would say, I was working with a healthcare company, and for that healthcare company, there were rewards benefits for some of the members. The rewards were only available from the 1st of the month to the 31st of the month. So during that calendar month, those benefits could be used. They did not roll over until the next month. So from the 1st to the 31st, say it was $50 worth of benefits. And then the next month, you had $50 worth of benefits. So that is part of the situation. The second part of the situation, I would tell them, I had a member call in. They were very upset because they were in the hospital or a long-term care facility for the entire month, and they were unable to use their benefits. They feel that it's unfair that they missed out using that $50 during the month of, say, December. And they want to be able to roll over or have an exemption made. So there is your situation. You're describing the policy, you are describing what the member's problem was, and what the member wants resolved. So let's talk about task, the T in STAR. So the task is, we're going to describe what's needed to be done and why. And this is where we get into policies, procedures, and regulations. So my T for this situation is, the policy for the company is that it can only be used within that 30 calendar day time. They do not give any exemptions for a member to roll over those benefits or to use them outside of that 30 days. The reason being because a member or an authorized representative of the member can always place an order during those calendar days. So that is the task. That is the policies and procedures that are there. So let's talk about A, action. Explain the steps that we take. Now this is part of where we are building and restoring relationships with the customer. So my action is to explain policies and procedures to the member while using empathetic statements. So I would tell the interviewer, I got on the phone with the member, I went over our policies and procedures. I empathetically apologized to the member that they were unable to use their benefits and told them that since we were in the beginning of a new month, I would be more than happy to take an order for them for their OTC products since they now have another $50 to spend. So I gave them the option of ordering on the phone, ordering online, or using a mail order form to mail in. I do apologize about the policy and how it has affected them, but there's no way to roll it over or extend those benefits. So that is the action part. Let's talk about R, the result. So I'm going to talk about it in a couple of different ways. So the result of the conversation is, after some empathy statements, the member did agree or come to terms with the fact that those benefits could not be used in a different month. They went ahead and placed an order, but they were still unhappy about some of the end results, or they were frustrated by those end results. So let's talk about a couple of different ways that that call was resolved. One, we reset the member's expectations about when those benefits can be used. You can also tell the instructor, I reached out to my team leader, supervisor, ARA, SME, whatever you're calling them in your company, and asked them to review the call and help me with verbiage, better verbiage, in the future. Now, why would I add that in there talking to a recruiter? One, you show that you followed policies and procedures while being empathetic. Two, you show that you were welcome to coaching and feedback about how to use better terminology and words and empathy statements in the future. So you can end that by saying to the recruiter, I was in touch with my team lead and she suggested some different ways that I could have handled that call. I really appreciated that, and I was able to use those ways to really better my performance. And that shows that you're teachable, coachable, you utilize feedback. You're not just hearing feedback, but you're actually utilizing what you have learned from your team leads, from people who've been there longer. And listen, when you're starting a new company, and even when you've been with a company for a long time, we all have teachable moments. And talk about those teachable moments with your recruiter. So that is a STAR method. So let's go through it one more time using a different example, only this time we're not going to pause between the S, T, A, and R. So a recruiter asked me, Becky, talk about a time that you had to deliver bad news to a client or a customer calling in about benefits or perks. And I would say, okay, so this is the situation. A member called in about their prepaid card. They were having problems activating it, and they were very, very frustrated. So what I did is I looked into their account after verifying their information, and I saw that they had actually canceled that prepaid card a month before and reordered a new card. So I was able to sit there and take the last 4 digits of the card they did have, explain to the customer that they had actually canceled that card because they thought it was lost in the mail and it was just delayed. I went over the policies where they can expect a new card within 10 to 14 business days and gave them an estimated date when they would receive the new card. The customer was a little frustrated and a little embarrassed because they had actually been trying to activate the old card. However, I reassured the customer that these things do happen. So the end result of that was we were able to go ahead. I told him how to cut up and destroy and get rid of the old card. I gave him a day that he could expect to receive the new card, and went over the different ways that he can activate his new card, whether it's on the phone, online, and what else. So that actually is a full star method, and you can break that down into the individual things. So it is very, very good, very wise to have your star setup written down on a piece of paper, and that way you can just read it when you give the examples. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.